guys, I wanted to make a video on how to make my dad's famous sausage gravy recipe. This is something that I grew up on. This is something that my siblings grew up on, and if you knew my dad, then you probably had this as well. It's a pretty simple recipe. I've never measured the things out before. He just kind of taught me how to make it all by eye. So I'll kind of try to measure it out so that you guys can make it as close to the actual recipe as possible. But the good thing about this recipe is that really it's like a one pot meal. I mean, other than your tray for your biscuits. But usually when I make it, I just have to get a roll of sausage and biscuits. So if you're interested in making this very unhealthy but good for your soul recipe, then continue watching. Okay, so like I said, it doesn't really take a lot of ingredients. This is pretty much what you'll need. So yeah, you'll need some milk, butter, or margarine. Honestly, it doesn't matter. You can even do both if you want to get real fancy. I don't know. Sausage, my dad always used the Bob Evans sausage, but you can use whatever you want. I've definitely pretty much used any brand, and it's always turned out pretty well. But if you want the authentic Bucky sausage and biscuits, then this is it for you. You can buy a can of biscuits. Sometimes my dad would make drop biscuits with Bisquick mix, and that's pretty easy. It's probably honestly less expensive than a can of biscuits if you want to go that route. And then flour, and then salt and pepper to season. Okay, so the first step is to get a good sized pot. This is actually like a vintage pot. This belonged to Frank's great grandmother. So I love it. It actually works great for chili and all kinds of other things. But you're gonna want something pretty sizable like this. And then you're just going to break up the sausage and brown it. Kind of think along the lines of making sloppy Joe meat, or like meat for like hamburger helper or something like that. But yeah, you're just going to let it cook until it's brown, and then I will show you the next step. Almost forgot myself. Don't forget to preheat your oven for those biscuits. And then you can see I've broken up the sausage quite a bit more. It's getting there. Basically, just like hamburger meat, you want to cook it through so that there's not anything left in the pot that is pink. That's just kind of common sense, but just so you know, even though we're going to be cooking it further, you just want to make sure that the sausage is cooked through. Okay, so the sausage looks pretty awesome. Now it's time to add the butter. If you don't like to look at fat being added to fat, then look away. It's a lot of butter, guys. Dad was from the South, so this is how they do it down there. I will pick back up when we're done. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be about a cup of butter or margarine. Like I said, you can use both. You can use one or the other. Either way, it tastes really good. Dad would use whatever he had on hand. Tonight I'm using unsalted butter, so I will just have to add a little bit more salt to it when it comes time to do that. Okay, so I've got the butter fully melted in there, and yes, the sausage should be floating in butter. That is how Dad made it. It's not fun without fat, right? I have never measured the milk. I usually eyeball it, but I'm going to start with 2 cups, and then we'll see. We will see where we're at after that. I think we might need a little bit more. I'm going to say another ½ cup. So 2½ cups of milk. Okay, so I added the other ½ cup of milk. So yeah, 2½ cups, maybe 3 cups of milk. You want to add that to the butter and the sausage. You're going to want that to boil, and I will tell you what to do after that. But honestly, right now is a good time to put your biscuits on the pan and pop those in the oven, and start a timer. Always have a timer for biscuits because you don't want them to burn. So that's just a lesson that I've learned, and if I can help you prevent burnt biscuits, then I'm happy to do that. Also, very important, you're just going to want to cook this over like medium heat, medium high at the most. You don't want to scorch anything, so just keep that in mind as well. Okay, this next step is pretty typical for any gravy. You're going to want to make a flour water combination. I don't know what the technical term is for it, but I've got like, oh, what do I have? I have like a 3/4 of a cup of water here, and then I've got a little over 1/4 cup that I'm going to add to that, and then we'll see how it looks. But you just want to get all the clumps out and make sure it looks nice and smooth. This prevents lumpy gravy. This is a good thing to do for pretty much any gravy that you're making, because nobody likes lumpy gravy. Except Susan. I love you, Susan. Hey, girl. This seems a little thin to me, so I'm going to add another 1/2 cup of flour. Like I said, I just always eyeball this, so this is this is actually really weird for me to be measuring this. Okay, so this looks good. So this, after we pour this into the boiling gravy, it's really important that you don't stop stirring. That is what Dad told me. Don't stop stirring. So, I don't know if I can record and stir at the same time, but you can see it's boiling over here, and this is nice and smooth. So we're going to add it to it. I have no idea how to record this. Well, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour this in here, and I'm going to keep stirring, and then I'll show you the consistency. Okay, so you can see that this thickened up really well, and I did turn the heat down quite a bit. We don't want to scorch it, especially now that it's got flour in it, but you do just want to let it take its time. This is a good time to salt and pepper to taste. That's really your preference in terms of what you want to do. I definitely would add salt, because all that flour, you don't want it to taste like flour, and you really don't want it to bubble like this either, so you want to turn it down. But if when you make this it's too thick, you can add a little bit of milk. If it's not thick enough, you can make a little bit more of that flour and water mixture. That's the great thing about this recipe, is that you really can't mess it up. It's really easy to fix if you do. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to add my salt and pepper, and then we're pretty much done. Okay, so this is the finished consistency. As it cools, it'll thicken up even a little bit more. But yeah, I've added salt and pepper, and you know, if you want to try it, just you can grab a spoon or something, or if you if you want to do it like Dad, you can just take a swipe off of the spatula. But yeah, this is what you have, and I think the biscuits are almost done, so I will plate them for you. I feel like I'm on a food show. I feel pretty fancy, guys. But yeah, this is Dad's sausage gravy, and I can't wait to eat it because it smells so good, and it just reminds me of home. Okay, so this is the finished product. It probably looks weird because honestly everybody does like 2 or 3 biscuits, but this is what it is, and I guess I'll try it because I gotta make sure it tastes like Dad's. Okay, well, I definitely do appreciate you guys watching my video, and I hope you guys make it. And if you have any questions when you try to make it, like, message me. I'll try to help you out if I can. But I'm gonna try this, and I'm telling you if it tastes like Dad's. Yep. Follow those measurements. Salt and pepper to taste. You'll be good to go. You know, of course, I feel like I'm talking to you guys like you're 5, but maybe some of you have never cooked before. But go easy on the salt, and then add a little bit more, because you can't take out the salt. You can always add more salt. So that's really important, because I've definitely done that before. It's taken me a few times to really nail this recipe, but this is super good. I'm gonna give some to Frank and ask him if it tastes like Dad's as well.